Good afternoon. We're back with more Marvel Champions. And today will be Doctor Strange versus Ronan the Accuser on expert difficulty with no campaign cards involved. I fully expect to fail on this based on my limited play testing after the. So, my journey through Galaxy's Most Wanted went something like this. I tried out with Groot. That went about how you'd expect looking at Groot's cards. I tried with Rocket, and my thought was similar to my thinking for Rise of the Red Skull campaign, which was that I will use Rocket to beat the campaign on Expert, because it was possible to beat the Rise of the Red Skull campaign with Spider-Woman on Expert. Usually, boxes that come with heroes in card games and have a campaign, at least in Lord of the Rings LCG, the content is doable with the included heroes, even tailored for them, which is good design, right? You want your expansion comes with standalone decks, pre-constructed decks for Rocket and Groot, and you don't want players to buy your expansion and then be unable to play the content with the cards that you've included for them to play with. That would just be bizarre design, but that's the case here. Beating the campaign with Rocket on Expert is laughably impossible. I quickly discovered when I went up against the Collector with him on Expert, and it was such an extreme slap in the face in terms of difficulty that I went ahead and looked ahead at the other scenarios and looked at some opinions online, and I tried out some games against Ronan the Accuser, and wow, okay. Well, so you could quickly determine that beating the campaign with Rocket the Raccoon on either Expert or standard difficulty was out of the question. In fact, I'm not sure beating the standard campaign with anybody is possible at the moment. The campaign is such a mess. But the standalone bosses are just fine on expert difficulty. Now, is Ronan going to be just fine based on what I've seen so far? No, he is not. I fully expect to fail even with Doctor Strange. And if I do, I will downgrade the difficulty by removing the Kree modular set, which I think is way overtuned, for the Pirate one from Nebula. And if I fail again, then I will downgrade to standard difficulty with the standard modular set. And if I fail again, I will downgrade to standard difficulty with the Pirate modular set. And if I fail again, then I will shelve this boss until I acquire more powerful cards. So that's the game plan, and we'll see how this goes. We'll get the decks shuffled up. We got Vapors of Valtor to start. Not great, but we do have a target for it. Now we got Ronan with a toughness. We got Cut the Power. Side quest, we've got Universal Weapon that he starts with, which makes him unstunnable until you get rid of it. We have Kree Command Ship, which is a permanent additional encounter card. But when a Treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, you can exhaust the Milano and spend one resource to cancel it. Then when Ronan activates against you, give him an additional boost card if you control the Power Stone, which we start out the game with. Let's get our hand. I like that hand except for Mystical Studies. Though if I had Winds of Watum, I would keep Mystical Studies to go looking for Master of the Mystic Arts. And we'll get started. So we have Interception Imminent. We can use the Milano to remove 3 threat from that. We're not going to remove Vapors of Valtor here. We're actually just going to flip. We'll use Spiritual Meditation. Get rid of Magical Enhancement. We'll use Power in All of Us for Sorcerer Supreme. We'll use Doctor Strange to play Vapors and remove that toughness and add a stun. Actually, he can't be stunned unless we take 2 damage and deal a face down encounter card, which we'll do. And then he can be stunned with Vapors of Valtor. And we'll go ahead and Power of Leadership and Wong. We don't need Wong for a while since we've already gotten rid of Vapors. We'll use Ironheart to draw a card. We'll use the Milano to remove some threat. Oh, we can't do that because cut the power. So we'll use Ironheart to remove one threat. The Milano does not get used, and we'll go ahead and draw 4. One additional thanks to the Sorcerer Supreme. So we got 2 threat incoming from Interception Imminent. We'll remove 1 stun, and then we've got 2 encounter cards coming. First one is Kree Lieutenant. This is why I think this Kree Militants modular set should never have been the standard one. Because every single one of these Kree Militant enemies is like equivalent to or more powerful than a Nemesis villain, Nemesis minion. We take a look at Doctor Strange's minion and ask ourselves which one of these would we rather have come into play. Baron Mordo is a 2/2 with 5 health. And when he attacks, he gets an extra ability. The Kree Lieutenant is a 2/1 with 7 health, guard, and stalwart. That's a legitimate toss-up in terms of which one we'd rather have. If we had Magic Blast, we'd rather have Baron Mordo, right? Because you can just take care of him for sure with 1 Magic Blast. Kree Lieutenant, tougher, and he has guard. Baron Mordo doesn't have guard. You can also stun him if you need to. And every single minion in the Kree Militants set is like that, is equivalent to a Nemesis level minion, and that is a ridiculous modular set to include in a scenario, to include as standard. You could include it, but it should be like the expert level one, like an optional one like the Doomsday Chair. To include it in a scenario which already is high in difficulty, with high difficulty encounter cards and a starting effect which adds an additional encounter card for the whole game. This modular set is just ridiculous. It's absurd. Since this is the last scenario, if I had to guess, I'd say the first 4 scenarios were designed like maybe before COVID, and then the last one was designed after when they were all on Zoom and couldn't really play test. That's my guess though. Anyway, we had Kree Lieutenant for the first encounter card, and then we have Cannonade for the second encounter card. And we can move on to the hero phase. We can go... Do I want a Master of the Mystic Arts here? I think I need to. Using those 2 so I can Crimson Bands. It gets put back on top of the deck with Master of the Mystic Arts, but we want to take out the Kree Lieutenant. Why is there another card underneath that? Oh, that was originally... I had to deal that second encounter card, right? No, I already dealt 2. There was one that came in from the weapon that I got rid of. Then there was the Kree Lieutenant. And then there was Cannonade, so I don't know why this additional card is here. We'll just put it under there for now. So anyway, we took out the Kree Lieutenant, and then we can go ahead and Crimson Bands using these 2 for 7 damage and a stun. But we're not getting any threat reduction. We'll draw 4 and hope for a big turn next round. So 2 threat. Did I use the Milano that turn? Let me check. No, the Milano was available, so I could use it to remove threat. Okay. So I already placed the 2 threat. We've got the stun removed. And then we have 2 encounter cards coming. First one, the villain attacks you. Nope, we're going to use the Milano on that one. Second one, Fanaticism. This card is absolutely ridiculous. It surges and it gives him 2 fury counters which allow him to attack you using overkill and piercing. so that you can't use Doctor Strange's toughness shields, you can't use allies to block, you just have to face tank 2 attacks. That is an absurd card, and to add Surge on top of it is just ridiculous. If that card just existed without the Surge, it would be a really tough card. To put Surge on it is yikes. Anyway, it does surge into another Fanaticism. That's going to end the game. There's no way. And then that surges again into Master Plan, sure. Well, that was a turn for the boss. For the player turn, we'll use Winds of Watum. I mean, all you can do is laugh at it, right? Winds of Watum. Spiritual Meditation. Master the Mystic Arts, a little bit too late. I probably will need some of this. Magic Blast, I don't think I can afford. I have to get the stun out, so we'll use Power in All of Us, Spider-Man for the stun. And we'll see what we can do about this massive threat buildup. We'll use Stinger and Master the Mystic Arts to play Astral Projection. Well, I can't remove from the main scheme. Actually, I should put that threat back that I took off for the Milano, because Cut the Power is in play. I guess we'll remove from Cut the Power. And then a boost card. If it's for 3, okay, it's for 3, so 6 threat removal for that. That's decent. But the Milano is not available to thwart. I could use Mockingbird to thwart, but I need to thwart for 2 to avoid advancing the scheme, so I'll use both of them and retire Ironheart and thwart for 2, and then we'll draw 4. And then we have 2 threat, we remove stun, we have 2 encounter cards. Power Siphon. Discard 1 card at random from the first player's hand. Yeah, I think I'll do that. And then Kree Private, which quick strikes for 1. And then we're on to the player turn. Yikes. Those Fanaticisms are looming pretty large. There's nothing I can do about them, and even after they remove the counters, it doesn't discard the card. They give Ronan +1 attack permanently. Well, we'll play Maria Hill. We'll use her to thwart. Use Mockingbird to thwart. Use the Milano to thwart. And then we'll use Strange to attack, and we'll flip to Alter Ego. I can't take an attack for 6 plus a boost to the face. And I've got 4 of those coming. +1 from the Kree Private. Flip to Alter Ego, and we'll hope to get something that'll allow us to control his attacks. Flip to Alter Ego, we'll discard 7 rings. Get rid of Astral Projection, and we'll draw 5. 1, 2. Just gonna scheme. At least he doesn't scheme for that much. For 2, 3, plus an additional boost of 4, 5. That advances the scheme. Attach the Power Stone to him. Threat can't be removed while it's attached to him. And then the Kree Private schemes for 1. And this actually adds a boost to each of those cards, so it's... yeah, I mean, it advanced the scheme already. And we have 2 encounter cards. Hull Breach. Exhaust the Milano. Spend 2 resources. Yeah, we'll just exhaust the Milano. And we got another You Stand Accused. That's terrible. He schemes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the hero phase, we'll go ahead and do what we can. We'll flip. We'll use Images of Icon for 1, 2, 3, 4, and a Confuse. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 for Nick Fury. Deal 4. So I don't think that guy's worth taking out. 4, we'll use Nick Fury for another 2. Draw 4. So 2 threat. And here comes an attack. I'll have to tank. So he attacks for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And remove 1 token. Then an attack from the Kree Private on Nick Fury. Well, we might as well have had Nick Fury tank that, even though it's 2 overkill, because it soaks 2 damage, and then we'll have the Kree Private attack for 1. Then we have 2 encounter cards coming. Rogue Vessel, that surges. When the villain phase ends, deal 1 damage to each player. So that is another card that doesn't need to surge. Ronan the Accuser attacks the player who controls the Power Stone. Nobody does. Well, he does. So that surges. Pincer Maneuver. And Shadow of the Past to bring in Baron Mordo, because why not? Actually, that we can cancel. And we will. That we can cancel with the Kree command ship. So we'll go 1, 2, and cancel that. Okay, for the player turn, can we put Ronan into phase 2, 3 yet? I don't think so, but even if we could, we're gonna die. Use Squirrel Girl for 1 damage. And that's really all I can do. And I have to flip here to Alter Ego or I'm going to die. I'll discard 7 rings. Discard Sanctum. I think. I could just cycle it, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's an additional encounter card. So this turn we got 2 threat. Boost of 2, remove Confuse, Kree Private Schemes, then 2 encounter cards. Physical Toll, Exhaust. Special Delivery, you may exhaust the Milano. If you do not, the villain schemes. Okay. For the hero phase. Spiritual Meditation. Actually will Mystical Studies here. To go find Master the Mystic Arts. And we'll use it with Sanctum, I think. Draw 3. We'll use Power Genius for Nick Fury. Draw 3. We'll use Energy for Cloak. Flip to Hero form. Go Cloak ready, then use Winds. Nothing here saves me. To save me, I would need a way to heal, really, because he can't deal with another 3, 4, 5, 6. None of these guys can block. I don't have a way to stun. So that's that. Okay, well let's downgrade the difficulty and try again. I don't actually think the Kree militants is the reason that I lost, so I don't think there's much of a point to downgrading just the Kree militants but continuing to play on expert. Really the way to balance this quest, and I think this quest would have been just fine if the Kree command ship didn't exist. Fanaticism is terrible, but it's the Kree command ship, because the Kree... Remember, adding one encounter card is how you upgrade the difficulty from heroic, or from expert to heroic 1. So if you're playing on expert difficulty, you're essentially playing on heroic 1 difficulty or something very close to it. And it's already a terribly difficult scenario. So it's... Yeah, the hardest scenario... This scenario on expert is harder than most on heroic 1 or even heroic 2. We'll downgrade to standard and we'll try it again there. Okay, we're back. We're set up on standard difficulty with the standard modular set. And we'll see if it can be done this way. 7 rings. We'll get rid of mystical studies, magical enhancements, sanctum, make the call. Okay, so to get started, we'll use Stephen Strange to discard 7 rings. We'll flip, we'll use Winds of Watum. No, we won't. We'll master the Mystic Arts using Magic Blast for Winds of Watum, draw 3. That stays on top. We'll use Power in All of Us. No, we won't. We'll use Strength for Cloak. We'll use Power in All of Us for Sorcerer Supreme. We'll use Doctor Strange for Winds of Watum. Spiritual Meditation. Draw 2 and discard Astral Projection. We'll go Energy, Power of Leadership for Quinn Carrier. Quinn Carrier for Stinger. Use Stinger to ping the toughness off. We'll use Power of Leadership to Images of Icon. And we can't confuse without taking 2 damage and dealing an encounter card, so we'll do that. And we'll go ahead and draw 5. Yep. So 2 threat, and then Ronan gets to attack. And he gets 2 boost cards. He'll be attacking Stinger. This boost card gives +3, +1, and 2 additional encounter cards. Kree Commando. A 1/2 minion with 6 HP. Probably worse than Baron Mordo, because you can't thwart while he's out. And he has more HP. Pincher Maneuver. Superior Tactics. Attach the Power Stone. Yikes. Well, at least the Milano can be used on Pincher Maneuver. Vapors of Valtor is not useful here. 1, 2, 3, 4. To use Nick Fury. We'll use him for damage. We'll use Quinn Carrier. Well, let's do some thwarting. Doctor Strange once for 2. Milano and Doctor Strange for 5. And then I think we'll just draw. 2 threat. Ronan attacks Nick Fury. Just gets 1 boost card now because he controls the Power Stone. Then 2 encounter cards. Fanaticism with a Surge. The villain attacks you. You'll have to defend that. The attack is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another Fanaticism which surges. Cannonade. Okay. Well. Yikes. Yeah, we're not even close. Not even close to beating this on standard difficulty. We'll try again once or twice on standard. And then table this boss and come back to him with more cards. The interesting thing is it wouldn't be that hard to balance this boss. All you need to do is remove Kree Command Ship and remove Surge from Fanaticism and from that one other card. Rogue Vessel, I think it was. Yeah, just remove Surge from Fanaticism, Rogue Vessel. There may be 1 or 2 other cards you need to remove Surge from, and then remove Kree Command Ship. And you would have had a pretty good and fun scenario. This is a bizarre misstep with this boss. Let's see, for the hero phase, is there anything we can do? Go 1, 2 for Ironheart, draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Goliath. Thwart. Attack. Thwart. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. No, I don't need a thwart there. I can use the Milano for that. And I can thwart there. So let's leave the 2 threat there and let's get rid of the Cannonade with Doctor Strange and the Milano. Then we'll draw 6. But I have to flip to Alter Ego here, or I'm going to die to a Fanaticism attack. So we'll discard Vapors, Crimson Bands, Kitterak, and then on the villain phase, he goes 1, 2, he removes his Confuse. Wait, does he have Stalwart anywhere? No. Removes Confuse, 2 encounter cards. You stand accused. I do not want to stand accused. Cancel that with Milano. Power Siphon. Discard 1 random card. On to the player turn. We'll heal. Spiritual Meditation. We'll flip, we'll cloak, and we'll go Maria and Wong for Crimson Bands. And stun. We'll use Goliath for 2, and we'll draw 3. Yay, Crimson Bands came up again. So, 1, 2, remove stun. 2 encounter cards. Single-minded fury. Ronan attacks the player who controls the Power Stone. That's no one. That's him, actually. So, Surge. Kree Commando. Villain schemes. No, he does not. Let's cancel that. And then we're on to the player turn. So this just has patrol. You can't thwart. Let's go ahead and power on all of us plus Helicarrier for Mockingbird and get a stun out. We'll use Goliath's +5 here, along with Mockingbird to take out the Kree Commando. We'll thwart twice with Doctor Strange to remove this threat. And we'll draw 4. It's going to be an additional encounter card. So 2 threat, remove stun, 2 encounter cards. Pincher Maneuver. Physical Toll. Hull Breach. Okay. Not that bad. We're alive. Let's go ahead and Spiritual Meditation. Let's flip. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 for Avengers Mansion. Draw a card. Let's use Make the Call and Quinn Carrier for Eye of Agamotto. Getting ramped up. We'll flip. We'll use Cloak to ready and then use Eye plus Power of Leadership to Crimson Bands. That'll put us into phase 2. And we'll go ahead, well, Goliath is gone. We'll use Mockingbird to ping the toughness off. We do have a stun on him thanks to the Crimson Bands. And then we'll draw 5. So we got 1, 2, plus 2. Remove stun. 2 encounter cards. Single-minded Fury, a blank Surge because he controls the Power Stone. Kree Lieutenant. Oof. And that we need to cancel. Alright, for the player turn, Avengers Mansion. We'll use 7 rings. Using a Helicarrier, I guess. So add toughness. That can help with those fanaticism attacks, except that they have piercing, so it really can't. Let's go Genius for Astral Projection on Cut the Power. Let's go Power on All of Us and Squirrel Girl for Astral Projection on Interception Imminent for 3, just 3. Then we'll Doctor Strange to thwart for 2 there. And we'll draw. Is there anything I actually wanted to keep? I could keep Power in All of Us by using Eye of Agamotto. And we'll draw 4. One, two, three, 4. Ronan will attack. It's the first time in a while he's gotten an attack off. That's going to use his tokens up and burn a toughness on one of these dudes. Kree Lieutenant will attack as well. Let's have that. Now let's burn the toughness off of Doctor Strange. And then the Kree Lieutenant attack will be for 1. Then we have 2 encounter cards coming. Kree Private, which quick strikes. Kree Commando, which means you can't thwart. Yikes, this is probably the end. I lasted a lot longer than I thought I would. If it wasn't for this Kree Militant set, I think I'd be okay. Even with the Kree Militant set, is this doable with Doctor Strange? With the current cards available to me? Yeah, with luck. It's probably doable. With luck. With a lot of luck, I would say. So we're not really that close to winning at the moment. So I definitely think this this boss needs house rules to generally be fun. Let's see, for the player turn, one of these guys has guard. I think I need to take out the patrol one first. So we'll go Avengers Mansion to draw. That wasn't used. Spiritual Meditation to draw 2. Discard 1. We'll go 1, 2, 3 for Magic Blast. Not on him. On him. +1. Oh wait, it's not the boost thing. Why did I do that? Magic Blast discards 1 from the top of my deck. Gives me a science resource which confuses the enemy, doesn't kill him. Where did he go? There he is. I think we'll have to use one of Doctor Strange's actions to take him out. We can use images. Images of icon, remove 4. And get a confuse on the boss. We'll use the Milano for 3. Wait, what did I didn't want to use power in all of us to pay for Master the Mystic Arts. I wanted to use the other I wanted to use Master the Mystic Arts to pay for images, not the power in all of us, because I also want to power in all of us Quinjet for Spider-Man. Give him +2 attack. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to flip to Alter Ego, discard the Vapors, draw 5. Actually, should I have Master the Mystic Arts there? I think I should, with Eye of Agamotto. And then we'll use Make the Call for... No, can't do that. We'll just discard Make the Call. And we'll go ahead and actually discard Stinger 2, and then we'll draw 4. 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove Confuse. Thwart for 2. So we push into phase 2. Gets 1 boost card. And then thwart for 1. And we have 2 encounter cards. Blindside, exhaust the Milano, stun the first player. Alright, we'll exhaust the Milano. I do have a protective ward if there's another. Yep, there's you stand accused. We'll just make the call. We'll Quinn Carrier, Protective Ward that. And then we're on to the player turn. We can Avengers Mansion. Spider-Man, and I think we'll Ironheart. Get rid of the Kree Lieutenant. Flip to Doctor Strange, use Winds of Watum. There's an encounter card. What can we do here? We can I would like to Magic Blast. 1, 2, 3 for Magic Blast. 5 damage. Lightning, so that's 2 damage. What is the next card? Vapors. Not really usable at the moment, but I do want to cycle it because if I get to Bands of Critterack, I could legitimately win. I have another 6, 7, 8 damage. It's not quite enough. I can use Power of Leadership, Maria Hill, cycle out Ironheart, draw a card, and we'll use her to thwart. Use Strange to thwart. I still have a toughness for the Fanaticism attack. Do I want Nick Fury this round or should I save it for next? Save it for next round. We'll discard magical attachments, draw 3. And then 2 threat, 1 attack, 2 boost cards, 1 additional boost card. Attack gains overkill already has that, but it'll be eaten by toughness. Nope, it's got piercing as well. Ugh. Did I play that wrong earlier? I might have. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and even if Doctor Strange had tanked it, I would have lost. Okay. So, my recommendation is to consider this expansion end game content, which means don't buy it in order, in expansion order. Don't buy it after Rise of the Red Skull. Wait until your collection is sufficient that you're defeating most of the scenarios you have on Heroic 1 or Heroic 2, and then consider getting this, but with the understanding that the heroes are, at least Groot is underwhelming, Rocket is fun, but not very viable in solo, and you may still struggle, even if you're having problems with Heroic 1 or Heroic 2. So my recommendation for house rules to make this boss playable with current collections, if you're playing the expansions in order, my recommendation is to remove the surges from the encounter cards. That would be Kree Physiology, Fanaticism for sure. Kree Physiology could possibly stay, but Fanaticism for sure. Remove the surge from that. Remove the surge from Rogue Vessel. It doesn't need the surge to be difficult. And remove Kree Command Ship from the game. And if you do that, I think it'll be pretty balanced. So we're going to try this quest using those house rules on expert difficulty and see how the difficulty ends up being. So we'll be right back and we'll try that out. And we're back. We've reset up everything. We have restarted the program because it was beginning to lag. So, as discussed, I'm going to be playing Ronan the Accuser with Doctor Strange on expert difficulty, but with house rules. A, Kree command ship is removed from the game. B, all of the surge cards are removed from the game. No, they're not removed from the game. We just ignore the surge on the encounter cards for this scenario. I have also chosen to play against the Pirates modular set from Nebula's encounter as opposed to the Kree militants. That one's debatable, but I do think that the Kree militants are overtuned because each one of the Kree militants are equivalent to Nemesis minions from the hero packs, and the Nemesis minions are supposed to be the most powerful minions in the game. So the Kree militants have too much HP for what they for their supposed difficulty level. Now you could also play against the Kree militants and cut their HP in half, which I think would bring them right in line with other minions who are like them. I don't have them, I have the pirates in this, or just play against the pirates. But I think this will provide a good challenge with these modifications and be a relatively fun scenario to play against. So we'll just test it out with these house rules. And we'll come back to Ronan as he was designed to be played once our collection is more complete. So we'll go ahead and get the decks shuffled up, and we'll try out the scenario with these house rules, which I think are very reasonable. Crimson Bands is on top. It may still provide a lot of challenge. I may still lose even with the house rules, but we'll see. Make the call, no. Nick Fury, not with this hand. Just draw two more. Okay, so let's get started. Definitely going to want to... let's play Mystical Studies and Ironheart for Maria Hill and draw a card. Oof, Power of Leadership. If I'd known, I would have waited. 1-2 for Cloak. So we're going to let Ronan get an attack off. We'll use Doctor Strange action to remove the toughness. We'll use Maria Hill and Doctor Strange to remove Cut the Power. We'll use the Milano. And then we'll draw 4. And the boss gets 2. The boss attacks. And the boss gets 1 encounter card, which is Pirate Lackey, who quick strikes for 2. So for the hero turn, let's go Spiritual Meditation. Draw 2, we'll discard Sanctum. Draw 2, we'll discard Quinn Carrier, I think. Then we want to go 1-2 for Crimson Bands. 1-2-3 for Master of the Mystic Arts and Crimson Bands. 1-2-3-4-5-6-7, add stun. And we'll deal 1. Well, actually, Doctor Strange is dealing +1 attack thanks to Power Stone, so we'll do 2 attacks. Take out the Pirate Lackey and draw 4. So 1-2, remove stun. 1 encounter card. Actually, I can't stun unless I take an additional encounter card and 2 damage. Then I could stun. So we have 2 encounter cards. Pincher Maneuver. You stand accused. We can cancel you stand accused with a protective ward. We'll do that. So for the hero turn, we've got Crimson Bands on top. We'll do that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Add stun. And we'll go ahead and Play Astral Projection for 3 and a boost card of 0. And we'll use Strange to thwart, and then we'll draw 5. 2 threat, remove stun. 1 encounter card. Fanaticism, which once again we've removed. We're ignoring the surges, so it's just Fanaticism. Let's go Spiritual Meditation for 2. Discard Make the Call. We'll get out I have Agamotto. We'll get out Sorcerer Supreme. Vapors of Valtor, not useful. We can thwart for 6. And then we'll just draw 5. So 2 threat. Ronan gets an attack. Defend it. It's attacking for 3, 4. It's 2 damage, so we don't have to cough up the Power Stone. That's good. And 1 encounter card, which is Physical Toll. Unfortunately, we can't exhaust Stephen Strange, so we have to pay 3 additional resources on the next event, which is rough. Let's go ahead and I think we're gonna flip here. Discard Vapors. We'll go 1, 2, and 3 to get out Helicarrier. Actually, we'll keep Magic Blast. We'll use I have Agamotto. I should thwart. I should have readied Doctor Strange before flipping to Alter Ego so that I could then heal. And then I'll draw 3. So 2 threat. Ronan Schemes for 2. And then we got an encounter card, which is Pirate Commander with Quick Strike, but we're not in hero form. So we'll flip to Strange. We'll go Master of the Mystic Arts, which would cost 1 plus 3 for the physical toll. So 1, 2, 3. And Winds of Watum to draw 3. And we'll use Doctor Strange to play it again. Draw 3. It's an additional encounter card. We'll go ahead and go 4 for Goliath. 3 for Spider-Man. Milano for 3. Spider-Man gets +2 attack for this phase. We'll use Goliath to attack and Strange as well. And then we'll draw 5. Actually, we don't have to use Goliath because Strange is +1, since he still has not taken 3 or more damage from the villain. Alright, so 2 threat. 1 attack from Ronan. With Fanaticism means Strange will exhaust to deal with it. So 6 damage, that is going to take the Power Stone. And then we're going to have 2 encounter cards to deal with. So that's the final token off of Fanaticism, but it stays on the board as a +1. So we got 2 more encounter cards. 1, Unless I cancel that, but I can't cancel the surge. Do I want to cancel the when revealed? No, I don't think so. Superior tactics, and then rogue vessel. And once again, we're ignoring the surges. It's hard enough without them. So, when the villain phase ends, deal 1 damage to each player. Okay. Well, we can go 7 rings is there. It's not that good. Spiritual meditation first. Spiritual meditation again. What do I want to discard? 1 magic blast, I guess. Play astral projection. Boost of 2, perfect. Gets rid of the pincher maneuver. I think we'll use Strange and Eye of Agamotto to play 7 rings. Toughness. Gonna want to thwart with Goliath first. Toughness. And I think I'm gonna want to attack with Spider-Man first as well. Well, Helicarrier and Wong for Squirrel Girl, deal 1 damage, and then put Ronan into phase 3. I was forgetting to give Ronan 1 additional boost card while I controlled the Power Stone. I'm not sure if that ever came into play or not. And I'll exhaust the Milano and spend my last 2 resources to get rid of Rogue Vessel. Draw 6. 1, 2. Ronin now has Retaliate 1. He can attack Spider-Man. Oh, I forgot to put the toughness on Strange, so he'll just attack. Give the villain 1 additional boost card, and that'll ping the toughness off. And then 1 encounter card, which is Single-Minded Fury. Well, he controls the Power Stone, so you stand accused. I'd love to have Protective Ward back. Well, that attack will go on Spider-Man. 1 additional boost. Remove toughness. Okay, so for the player turn, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4 for Avengers Mansion. So we're getting good, strong ramp. We'll thwart for 2. We'll go magical enhancements to use images. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get a confuse on him. And we'll go... So it's images of Icon again. I think I'll flip over to Alter Ego here. Thwart with the Milano. Flip over. Discard this, I think. Or actually, we'll use the Milano for our resource. Get out Quinn Carrier for more ramp. Then we'll draw 6. So 1, 2, remove confuse, 1 encounter card. Pirate Lackey with quick strike. Nope, we're not engaged with him. Let's see. For the hero phase, I think I'm gonna retire Squirrel Girl to ping the toughness off. We can use Strange to heal. flip and use draw card. Power of Leadership, Maria Hill, draw card. Let's use Spider-Man. Retire him. Use Genius plus Helicarrier for Mockingbird and get a stun. So we'll use damage, damage. Damage. Pirate Lackey. We'll use Strange with Make the Call to get images. Mainly we just want to cycle it. Get it confused. I think we'll use Milano for Master of the Mystic Arts. Quinn Carrier and Make the Call for Crimson Bands. Get damage and then draw 5. That's going to add an additional encounter card. So 1-2, remove stun. 1 encounter card. Kree Physiology, so we add a tough status card. We maybe could leave the surge on that one, but for the sake of consistency, we'll say we remove all the surges. So we got one more encounter card coming, which is Power Siphon, Exhaust the Milano, that's fine. And then we're on to the player phase. Draw a card. Spiritual Meditation. Draw 2. Go. We'll use Maria Hill to thwart and retire her. We'll play Ironheart with Genius. Draw a card. We'll go Strange plus Energy to play Crimson Bands. After we ping the toughness off. And stun. Ironheart for 1 damage. And we'll discard some stuff here. And then draw 4. Also 1 damage there. So 1-2, remove stun. And attack. Oh no, remove stun, so then 1 encounter card. Which is the villain's schemes. He's going to scheme for 4, 5, 6. That's going to advance the scheme. So he gets a boost card. And so we can't use the Milano to thwart off of the quest anymore. And while the Power Stone is attached to Ronan, threat cannot be removed. And it's actually not that easy to remove it, because I need an attack that does 3 damage. The only thing I have is Magic Blast. But thankfully I do have one in hand. So on the hero phase we'll go Spiritual Meditation and discard Sanctum. We'll just play, we'll go Avengers Mansion, we'll go Helicarrier, 1, 2, 3 for Magic Blast. And it's Science, so that's confused, he's already confused. And then we just have attacks, uses +5. Okay, so thoughts on this difficulty? I think it's fine to leave the Kree Fanatics side mission in. And debatably, it's fine to leave the Surge on Kree Physiology. So I think my final recommendation is that this scenario is just fine on Expert difficulty. If you remove Kree Command Ship from the game and you remove the Surge from Fanaticism, from Rogue Vessel, and I guess if you're playing with Kree Fanatics, you probably remove the Surge from Kree Physiology as well. It makes it kind of a mild encounter card. I think that one's more or less fine as a Surge card, but It's comparable to other encounter cards from other sets. So, yeah, I think my final recommendation for making this scenario playable with the current cards we currently have is to remove the surges from the encounter cards, remove Kree Command Ship from the game. And then I think the scenario is balanced and actually pretty fun. You leave Fanaticism in, just don't have it surge. You could even debatably leave the surge on Kree Physiology. I think that one's really a toss-up. Even then, even with those changes, I think you need a top-tier deck to beat this. But that's my recommendation for house rules. And then for campaign house rules, here is how I would play it. Well, let's look at the campaign setup for this one, by the way, just for a laugh. So, originally, when this scenario first came out, you had to use the Kree Supremacy side quest. And the Kree Supremacy side quest is... where is that? Kree Supremacy. Oh, right. It's in the campaign cards. Kree Supremacy. So this was the original requirement for the campaign instructions. You had to use Kree Supremacy. Starts with 9 threat. This is on standard mode. Contains an additional encounter card, along with Kree Command Ship, which is an additional encounter card. So you're starting out the game with 3 encounter cards on expert difficulty. But that's not all. If your identity was recorded in the Power Stone control section of the campaign log from the Nebula scenario, then you got 1 copy of You Stand Accused dealt to you to start the game. And that's an extra attack from Ronan. But that's not all. Then you also had to search the encounter deck and discard pile for Pincer Maneuver. And you had to add additional threat to it based on the number of evasion counters that were left in the Nebula scenario. Then you also had to add Badoon Headhunter to the deck. And if you'd killed Badoon Headhunter a few times in the original, in the scenarios that you played through, then you had to add On the Hunt, Dead to Rights, and or Headhunter's Henchman to the deck. And then possibly Fugitive Recovery. And that's not all if you were on Expert. That's all if you were on Normal. Nothing, right? Just a 9-threat side quest, 3 encounter cards, 2 boost icons on this side scheme, plus additional threat on the side scheme based on what happened in previous scenarios. That's standard difficulty, by the way. If you were inclined to play on Expert, you have to flip Kree Supremacy, and then it gains a boost icon and a boost card icon. So you got 3, or an acceleration icon and a boost icon. So you got 3 acceleration icons, 3 encounter cards, and this quest starts with 11. But that's not all. For Expert, you also have to place an additional 1 threat per player on the main scheme. And if you lose the campaign, if you lose the game, you lose the campaign on Expert difficulty, which is also the case in Rise of the Red Skull. In what world is this beatable with the current card pool? In what world is Standard beatable with the current card pool? But anyway, easy to balance, in my opinion. We remove the Kree Command Ship. We remove the surges. We certainly don't play with Kree Supremacy. So later they errated this campaign to say Kree Supremacy is optional. Originally it wasn't optional. That's Bush League, frankly. But you still have to play with the pincer maneuver, and you still have to start with an extra You Stand Accused. Anyway, house rules: remove the surges, remove the Kree Command Ship, and then I think you're in great shape on this one. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you will find the challenge. You'll find it challenging, but comparable to other scenarios and comparable to what you would expect from a final boss of a campaign. easy changes to make. And for a campaign, what I would recommend doing is playing through the campaign. I recommend pulling out the side quests that they recommend pulling out each round. I'll make a video about this later. But ignoring any traits on them. So you'd pull out Kree Supremacy for this one, but you'd ignore the extra encounter card. It's just there for victory points. Because the victory points determine what you can buy in between rounds. So you pull out these recommended starting quests. Like for the first one, it's Badoon Blitz. Do play with it. Just ignore the when defeated effect. Play with it on Expert, starting with 7. Ignore the boost icon. You're just doing it so that if you clear the quest, you can give yourself credit for units. And just don't do the negative effects of the campaign in between. Build up your cards as you clear victory points. Don't penalize yourself. Play each quest on Expert or Standard if you're playing a Standard campaign. And then make the changes to Ronan that we made here. Remove Kree Command Ship, remove the Surges from the encounter cards. And then I think you've got a pretty playable campaign. I think it's a good campaign with those house rules. If you are not of the mindset of you're willing to make house rules, you're not very good at headcanon, I would not recommend purchasing this expansion, or I would recommend considering it end game content. Something to buy after you've bought all of the others and your collection is so overpowered that you're defeating all the scenarios on Heroic 2, and maybe that's not even the case now with 5 boxes out, but that would be my recommendation for this. And I'll make a separate video with a review of this and a guide to how to make this campaign playable. But anyway, this ended up being a long session. And we'll come back to this boss as it was designed once we've got a collection that is capable of taking on the challenge. So, thank you for watching.